box jumps up on your screen somewhere, you click the word OK or got it or something. And then I will mute everybody. Spotlight me. Ooh. Okay. So we've got our basic setup, just a chair, some space, and ready to go. Sit at the front edge, central pillar, central upright. Breathing in, breathing out through the nose, in the nose, out the mouth, or in the nose, out the nose. Either way is fine, but try to get nostrils involved. Everybody agrees that having an upright posture is good. Where the Tai Chi, Qigong, Taoist viewpoint differs, and in my view, is correct, and it's a superior way of understanding, is instead of holding and bracing the body, we relax the body. They call that chunwan. So the vertical pillar is called zhongjang, which means central upright. Then the next thing you do is chunwan, which is releasing and relaxing as your means of finding stability. So it's similar to a glass of water with dirt in it, let's say, that have stirred up. So it's all stirred up, the dirt and the water are mingling. And then when you become still, or you let the glass become still and everything settles, the sediment naturally goes down to the bottom and consolidates at the bottom, making for a foundation down. That's kind of like what we want to do here. Rather than holding a bunch of the earth in our body with tension, we let go of that. And what happens is it goes down, and they say out of the body and underground. So then we're actually, the part of us that's of the earth is now grounded, connected to the ground. And the most important part of that is what's left is Qing Ling, or lightness, nimbleness, fluidity, youthfulness, right? Because age is being old, feeling old, is more about this feeling of stuck and rigid and mechanisms that aren't movable. That's when we go, uh-oh, this isn't working. So if we can cultivate this youthful quality, this is the point of the Taoist practices, is to keep that youthful quality of nimble, live, fluid, agile, active for as long as possible. But we do have to cultivate it. So that beginning practice of zhongjang, chunwan, relaxing, allowing qingling, lightness and nimbleness. And we can do some percentage of that just right here, right now, with the mind going, oh yeah, that's an interesting idea. Central upright, okay, relaxing instead of holding, okay, that's interesting. Oh yeah, I feel a little bit of a difference. So that's just kind of like a small taste of what the practice will then help with. Breathing, inhaling long and smooth, opens us up, expands us, stretches us open in all the directions, top to bottom, front to back, everywhere. And then exhaling, melts, settles, relaxes. And then again, we inhale. Opening, expanding, stretching open these spaces, and then exhale, melts. And so that's helping. That's the initial shenfa, body method of breathing thoroughly to help produce this pliability instead of this stuck quality, right? Let's do 5 breaths like that. On your own time, you could spend 10 minutes just breathing and you would be happy that you did it. In the nose, long and smooth. Out the nose or the mouth, long and smooth. And also one note, I talk, right? I'm talking, but if every time I talk, you get pulled out of your practice and you stop paying attention to the practice, that's not what the purpose of my talking is. I'd like you to be in your own practice, in your own trance, breathing in, breathing out, feeling your body, and just let what I'm saying kind of wash through your mind, guiding your practice rather than distracting you from your practice. So that's the idea of how to be a good student of something. We don't leave attention to our own experience. Long, smooth breath in. We'll hold that breath full. Long, smooth breath out. Holding empty. Now, slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up, look up. That's with the inhale. And then with the exhale, hollow the chest, straighten through the arms, drop the head, round the back. And then inhale, slide the hands back, elbows back, shoulder blades back, chest up, chin up, look up, arch. And reverse. Hands forward, hollow the chest, drop the head, round the back. I'm going to do this a few times. Inhale. Exhale. Just notice how the body likes this. The body is begging for this. Sometimes we don't know it because we're paying attention to something else. We're tied up in obligations or distractions, whatever. But when we take the time out to just do these simple movements, the body is never upset at you for doing it. It's never like, oh no. It's always like, oh, thank you so much for taking this time. And ideally, we become addicted to this, obsessed with this process of paying attention to the mind, the breath, the body, every joint, every sensation, so that we're just always in the state of sort of upkeep and self-care. And then settle back to the middle and go right into rotations. Left hand forward, right hand and elbow back, turn and switch. Very important emphasis in Taoist practice is the word leisure. Leisure. So what we're doing, we want it to have a leisurely quality. And at the same time be totally thorough. Meaning you get all the way to the edge, you even linger at the edge, and then you leisurely come back. A lot of times we think of leisure as being sort of lazy or inactive. And there's a quality of that we actually want in our Taoist practice, in our meditative practice, in our mind-body practice. But when you combine that leisurely quality with thoroughness, you start to produce the results that we're looking for. Come back to the middle, settle, hang the arms, lean, left wrist floating up, soft, and then just leisurely back to the middle. So we want to have our tree trunk more like a palm tree, able to bow without breaking. So you just go to the edge that you can, that you should, but we're just cultivating pliable. And at the same time, this is one of my favorite exercises for finding this freedom of movement of the arms, of the spinal column, even in the hips, but yet sense this idea that there's an internal stillness, an internal pivot around which all this movability is organized. There's this stillness, and that's where we find our stability, is freedom of movement of everything around that space inside, where they call the dantian, the middle battery or reservoir or elixir field, right? So if we're all glued together, we have a middle, but that middle is everything stuck. But if we free everything, then we have a middle that can do all kinds of athletic movements and freedom. There's freedom and stability, right? Come back to center, and let's do our scapular movements. So again, scapula on your back, they move. The arms are connected, so they come along for the ride. So scapula spread apart, arms go a little in front. Then we lift up. Then we slide back. Then we slide down. Then we come under, forward, up, over, down, under, forward, up, over, down. Just roll with that a few times. Just get this cleaning of the layers of congestion that can be there in the back. One more and then reverse. And then we go back, up, forward, down, under, back, up, over, forward, down. Karen, are you able to see? Are you having trouble? I can't hear you, of course, but you're. I don't know if you're just doing something else, which is fine. But if you're having any trouble, you'll have to unmute. I can't hear you. I see your mouth moving. And then this last one that's just important here. Bend, and we go out and up. We really want to open all this space here, the armpit, chest, scapula, shoulder, and then down, and then squeeze, and then down, and then open all this space. Down, squeeze, and then back, down, forward and up, way up, and down, back, down. Freedom of movement. Cross, out, switch and cross. Out and down and all loose. And just see this here when I swing my arm. If this is stuck and I swing my arm, I'm only moving where the humerus bone hits the arm. And if you try to do too much from there, you actually grind away at the support and the cushioning inside the socket. So that's the importance of the scapula freedom, is that the arm is capable. Think of swimming, think of Tai Chi or Kung Fu or other movements, the arm is obviously capable of really amazing movement. But if you don't realize the importance of this freedom here, you end up hurting yourself trying to do. A lot of people who swim, they think they're doing great things for themselves, but if they're not using that mechanism correctly, then they're wearing this down, or they're playing tennis and they're wearing this down. So really feel that as we do a couple more of these, swinging, the point here of letting go of that place inside there and up in here and on the back where we grab hold in our glute and then release. Legs. Load, push, load, load, load. Now, again, just like an accordion, accordion needs to be able to come together, fully extend, come together, and down, and just have nothing in the way, nothing blocking. And Karen, are you able to? Why don't you leave the meeting and come back? Load, push, load. Okay, and then right foot, straighten and go point and flex and point and flex. And just freedom of movement there. And then we go tilt in, tilt out. Circle. And all these little mechanism movements that we're doing, go ahead and switch directions. I gotta be honest, I'm doing them all day. And I'll be working with a client or teaching a class or doing any number of things, driving my car, switch legs, switch feet, point and flex. And I'm doing something. Maybe it's breath. Maybe it's something in the head and neck. Maybe it's the scapula. Maybe it's somewhere in the foot and ankle. But tilt the foot in and out. That's this idea of having a constant presence and awareness of your body, and then knowing there's something you could do to correct something that's feeling a little off. Circle and reverse. And scoot forward, front edge. Feet a little wider than hip distance, and just a couple swivels. Toes up, turning in, and then out. In. Out. In. And neutral. From that same space, forward fold. In. Sitting upright, leaning a little bit back from the hips. Up and fold. Such an important mechanism that can get so stuck, right? Because it can be stuck from the legs area, can also be stuck in the lumbar section of the back and down to the sacrum. So it's a complex mechanism that includes a lot of different parts. But because it's the middle, it's just so important. And how do we get it, functioning? How do we get it up and running? Is length, space, openness. That's why we do all the things that we do in Taoist practice, is pulling apart, opening up the space, and then finding that space. And then using the space as the sort of, what would you say, rather than like being in the body, trying to use the body, you create the space, find the space, and then it's the space that allows us now to fold and stand up and feel limber and light and easy, and then, I gotta sit down. So again, instead of tightening and thinking how to force something awkward and clumsy, relax and use the space to move. Hold. Loose, right? Relax. Soft. sink. One more, just with as much ease as possible. And if you've been doing this with me for a while, if you have any sense of this is getting more easy, less work, then just know that that's the progression. Now let's squat and rock. Just do this with as little effort as possible, so it's like you're melting. Soften, loosen, releasing that shape, that movement, pushing through the earth. Feeling how your body just goes stack, 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 stack all by itself. Let's stay right where you are. Let's do that sink chi wash organ. So that last thing we just did, that squat, that's going to happen here. But from standing, loose and relax as best you can. Remember, instead of bracing the body, because if I brace my body and I try to lean into my toes and go back to my heels, I'm so heavy that I feel like I'm going to fall. But the moment you let it all loose, and then you go, oh yeah, I'm just going to lean into my toes and swing the arms forward, and just a little bit into the heels, just stay pliable, stay super leisurely and loose, forward, just back, kind of washing, and just easy forward, back. Now, stay a little bit back, open and lift. Important part of this one is that if I turn sideways, notice how my hands are not behind me. Because this is like kinking your garden hose versus coming out, up, but thinking out to the side. So go way out and feel that open all this space, this congested space, and then tip into your toes a little bit and close around that space. So the front here now closes and kind of hollows, the back opens even more. And then go to the heels and have there be this sort of, wow, this quality in and then down, settling to the middle. And then that squat where we hip hinge and we just go, just loose and soft. Then push through the earth and come up tall. Just loose and relax. We go to the heels a little bit, open and lift. Remember, the arms don't crank behind us. Then we rock forward and close this space. Then we rock back, and there's this in the upper and settling to the middle of the feet, hands settle to the belly, to that reservoir. And then it's this hollowing, right? This interesting hollow, which is very different than sticking my butt way back to do a squat, even though there's some element of that. But we want to, over time, make it more subtle, right? See how little my hips change, but everything kind of changed, which then creates the room for this perfect space to soften down. And then push through the earth and come back up. Two more. Rock back, open, and lift. This becomes just a fluid gesture. And then this is a second fluid gesture. And then this is one gesture eventually. In and down. Cool. And then that hollow. And wow. Settling, cooling, and finding a way through. shogun, wing, roll, fold. So, hands crossed, tai chi. Rising hands, rising. Little change in the arm position at the top, and slightly behind. Change. Oops. Space. Hands scoop in front. Open. Again, not through shortening, tightening, and grabbing, but the opposite, by opening, loosening, lengthening, arms out to the side. And then we go that little change up at the top, and like crane wings. Scoop. Open. They have that bird wing quality. And they use the crane a lot. The crane or the heron or that class of birds that are different than like the little birds outside your window that kind of flitter about. Those big birds, when they have this seam down their middle, and their wings are just massive and incredibly strong. So we really want to feel that power and potency in that central channel that is changed through these big wings, which is again different than, let's say, a hummingbird or a little sparrow. No, we're doing the crane, that big, potent, powerful use of these wings. And then let's go embrace the moon. Wing, right hand turn palm up as it comes over top, left hand sweeping under top and bottom of a big ball. Bring them together, separate apart, and ride that big wheel. Big circle. And together, apart. Big wheel. Over, under. Together. Apart. Big. And both hands down, scoop, float up, elbows back, hands turn over, push, full extend, come around the back side and draw all the way down. So this space is open. Turn the hands, push. Finish that full extension so the scapula come a little bit, instead of staying stuck here, the scapula, you can see that movement in my shirt of that. But doing that on both sides opens the back and kind of hollows this space out. And then you got to free up this area, the mechanism. Push. Finish all the way through. Extend like someone's pulling on your fingertips and you're made of elastic. Back. Now left hand push. As that full arm extend, allow it to turn you from the quad and from the belly low back, that little turn. Then turn left hand, right hand, and one draw, one push. That quad, that turn waist there. Turn in. One draw, one push. And one draw. back, down, relax. From that same middle mechanism, change your weight right leg, turn a little bit right, swing those hands on over, then turn your left hand palm facing that way, right palm as well. Change the weight, turn from your middle mechanism, then the hands. Turn the hands around, get them ready. This leg is empty, this leg is loaded and full, and Russian sweep. Turn the hand, and shift, turn, rush, sweep. And the bear washing paws in the stream. Let that progress to the bear swirling the stream. So that left hand's still going to do the brush knee, but now this hand goes away from the body but not up. So differentiate that. Goes far out, but not up. And then comes in close. And then it's far out. So you see that elasticity. You can kind of see in my body as I make this shape. And then I don't stay in tight. I'm going, okay, soft, 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 long, 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 getting around the whole circle. And then it resolves itself. And the net result is a softer, looser, more lubricated, more functional mechanism. And we go again, that long reach, reach, reach. So fewer reps done with great attention to these details of thorough and soft. Now we come up a little bit with that loose arm, and we stay long. The bear squats, jumping fish. That hand comes down a little, or down in the water as this one floats up about chest height, and we go shifting, turning, stay far away through the fingertips, though you stay right where you are in your legs' connection to the earth. So your feet are staying, you could say magnetically sealed, ideally. So you notice I'm not coming up out of my feet like this when I'm changing. They're staying kind of stable, stationary. And yet everything else is having to change. This opens, this turns, this gets longer and resolved. Shift, turn. Let's go a little higher jumping. So every time we change, it's like we're flossing the plaque out of a different place. And a very high level practice is one actually where you don't do anything specific, you're just following what your body is saying. But first you have to populate your vocabulary, your movement vocabulary. And so Tai Chi is one set of movements, and they're pretty exquisite movements, and we're doing simple stuff. But right here, we can start to add that reach, 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 and then turn, come down. So now what we're adding with this last one of the bear reaches the highest jumping fish is you see my legs have a little bend. I'm straightening that bend, reaching as much as I can, turning. The weight is now over this right leg, and then practicing this settling down through, this rising and sinking. So this is the sinking fall. And then we're going rising, top shelf, top of the sky, scrape the ceiling, and then just melt down. One more each. When I go up, if I come up out of my feet, I actually don't create that separation. So think of it in terms of separation. Down and up. And let it settle. Down, up, get way up. Turn. Now, wing, roll, fold. So this is a different mechanism now. The bear swinging is a good move, but it's not super sophisticated. This, we've loaded it into a spring-loaded position. Now we're going shift and turn and brush knee and extend. Now here, staying where you are, but then full extension, extension, extension. So that's that dynamic tension point right there that then resolves. We come here. Shifting, turning, brushing knee, pushing. Now that brush knee hand is winging. The pushing hand is extending, 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 extending. Find that magic point where you're still grounded through your legs. The weight's more in the left leg. Got still a nice semi-vertical. You might be leaning a little, whatever. Twist it a little. And then it resolves. It gets around and comes back to stored. We go the other way. Shift and turn and brush knee and push, extend, wing the left arm, wing it, right? A lot of times what happens with this arm is people cut around. They sort of cheat to get to the shape versus wing. See how far away that's going? All the way. That then roll forward. And then shift and turn. It's looking really good. Everybody looks like you're kind of in your bodies. You're paying attention to all these little subtleties. Remember the wing. Yeah, Lana, that's the one thing. This hand gets stuck here. Once it's brushing, 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 let it go. All right? Let's do one more each way. So we're sort of loaded, not tight, but we're in. And then we want to let it kind of express. Don't forget that wing. Yep. Load. And then and left hand high, right hand low, right foot empty, my left, your right. Step behind a little bit. Toes turned out 5 degrees or so. Now shift. 100. 0. Toe touch. Right? And so even though this foot is turned out, this is up, this is down, I still am organized around this middle. Bring this foot back, heels touch, these toes turned out. Change the weight to the left leg now. So the left leg is the spring-loaded support. Left hand down, bend right elbow. Right foot, empty. And then bring that foot back, empty. Change the weight into the right leg, right hand down, left hand coming up, 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 left foot empty, just floats in front, touches the floor lightly. Bring that foot back, no body weight. Change all the way to the left, hands change, and foot float. Bring the foot back and change. Now, stay on this side. The toe is touching. Be careful, but practice to whatever degree you can do that, and then touch the floor. So that resets, okay? You're safe. You go, okay, challenge, 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 down and return. So the repetitive thing is a little easier than lifting and trying to hold for a long time. Plus, it opens the way, kind of blazes the trail of the action. And then switch. This foot back, change. Left hand down, right hand up, right foot in front, toe touch. And then to whatever appropriate degree, lift down. Ideally, this idea that there's a teacup on the head, and I'm not slinging it off my head. I'm connected down here, so this is free. And then last challenge, we go foot down. Now it's change the weight and just go right into whatever your lifted variation is. When the foot comes down, put it down ready to take the weight, and then change. Put the foot down ready to take the weight, and then change. golden rooster stands on one leg. And wash your paws. Play with clouds. Right hand sweeps lake, vapors up, becomes a cloud. Now shift, turn, cloud, lake, remember this hand, lake, vapor and rain, in, turn, cloud, lake, rain, vapor. Remember the concept of, over time, you're loosening up compression, congestion, shortened, gripped areas. So that eventually you're really just using interior space. So as one of my teachers said, it's kind of like you're bypassing your joints the whole time, right? So we're not like cranked in the wrist and locked in the elbow and tight in the shoulder. In fact, we're in none of those places, but we're kind of using the region. We're using the bendability of these joints, but we're never jamming into them, running into the edges. And that's what's so cool. Like if you've been in a pool lately, been in the ocean lately, and how you feel when you're in the water and you're sort of suspended and it feels so nice. That's what Tai Chi should be yielding for you over time is, wait, am I floating? Am I buoyant all the time? The answer is you could be. Last one, come across. Now take your right hand and just drop it behind you so it's out of the game. Left hand down in front of this hip, it's at the bottom of the ball. Forward, like you're going to throw a frisbee or toss something. So that direction, and then shift and turn, and it's moving diagonally up to this corner. Once again, remember that we don't crank the arm behind the body. So if I turn sideways, notice how I didn't do this. It's here. The back is still open, right? Then turn the palm out, wing. Sweep the leg, shift and turn. Flying diagonal. Goes away from the body, and as you shift and turn, it has this up and away. That looks really good, everybody. Turn the palm out, wing, leg, bottom of ball, flying diagonal. One more, please. Switching, bring that right arm out. Wash the paws to this side, put left arm behind the back, load up for that flying diagonal and flying diagonal. Remember, that's different. We're not winging. We're going away. Right? From the side, it looks like that, which is very different than that. So be able to differentiate that gesture, and then we come back via the wing route, the wing pattern. And then we go away from body with this diagonal. So though some of you have done this movement many times, what you want to be tracking in terms of improvement is, what are you using to execute it? Over time, it should be, again, hydraulics, looseness rather than tension, and more of this understanding that it's this mechanism that I'm I'm not going arm by itself. It's this internal thing that's going shwa, this shift turn that's sending it that way. So that's why adding constant new movement isn't necessarily the best way to improve, because we're trying to use these movements like tools to find the right mechanism and to create a change. Now, wash paws back to the middle. Left hand under, right hand over. Now, palms stay facing each other. Go, 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 go. All the way. And then, so now that kind of movement, except do it on the diagonal so that this bottom arm does that flying diagonal. Top arm does this complementary down and away. Return. Now let's put the shift and turn with that. Shift into your right leg, turn slightly right. So now we're all loaded up and we're ready to issue the movement. Shift and turn, flying diagonal with that bottom arm, top hand's doing this complementary down and away. Now turn left palm out, right palm up, embrace the moon. Shifting, right, turning from your internal mechanism. Gap. Then this arm's going to fly diagonal, this one's going to down and away as you shift and turn. And the hands should feel like they get to sort of like a full free expression, but we want to be neither too much this way nor too much this way. That's this middle. Even though there's more weight here, less weight there, it's still organized around the middle. Same idea here. Turn the palms, even though this goes down, this goes up, and we're changing, we're really cultivating that middle. And again, so it has both qualities of absolute freedom of movement and flow with absolute precision and organization. Usually those two things are found one more than the other, imbalanced, right? Unbalanced, not imbalance, but imbalance. Last one. That's where Tai Chi just is fascinating, because you're cultivating these opposite, seemingly opposite, but complementary qualities. And it's those complementary qualities that make us, that give us what we're looking for. Now, switch. So we wash paw, paw, right hand under, left hand over. Do that one where we go just to get that freedom of movement piece. Then put that on a diagonal. Embrace the moon, palm, palm. What is low goes high, what is high goes low. One under, one over. Shift and turn slightly left, gather, and stroking wild horse's mane. Turn, turn, shift, turn. Shift, turn. At the beginning, it feels very much like this outer body experience. We're grabbing on the body, trying to force it through these weird movements. But over time, you start to find this coordination through and from the middle. Really great. And Deborah, you were doing great. That last one, you messed up the hole. Right hand under. Yeah, there you go. You had it like this. have it like that. That's right. There you go. So now the low is ready to go high, the high is ready to go low. There it is. Beautiful. Yeah, really nice. Now stay in your right leg, sweep the leg, fold over top, and turn just that little bit more to the right. So it's like we were here, and then we've got just that little bit of room to go. Now we're ready to go the other way. Stroke wild horse's mane. All right, so we finish that expression, and then we go, okay, under, over, and a little more gather, right? So eventually you want that to feel like, and then we're going. So this is very issue, expressive. Then we release, and now we store. So storing has a quality to it, right? Of sort of gathering, of loading, but it's not something we want to tighten and hold. It's still like a soft consolidation that once it reaches its consolidation, it just naturally goes, well, it would feel great to issue again, to yang, to express. And if we just stayed out express the whole time, we'd exhaust ourselves and the mechanisms. They don't like it because we're part of yin and yang. So then it's just so leisurely and enjoyable to then load. And then once we're done filling, storing, it's got, nowhere else to go. It wants to issue and express. And then it reaches the culmination of yang, and it just gently turns towards yin and gathers, pools. Let's do one more each way. And then that expression, right? So the same physical movement done with awareness of energetics, that you're yanging, and then you got to release and relax and let it settle, store. Keep your right hand under, left hand over, Deborah. Switch your hand position. Yeah. And yang. And a yang isn't a rush to do it. It's this lingering at the full expression, this softening, and it turns over. It's to come back. One more. And then left hand around the outside, wash your palm. Wash your palms, just loose. Relax. Rock to your heels. Open. Live. Be in no rush. Don't skip this opportunity here to really pull yourself apart. Open. And then just naturally tip to the toes. And don't skip this part. Don't be in a rush to pull back because there's this sort of out here like the wave going up. Sure, that then it naturally starts to go in. Settle. Follow. Again. Back. Open. Lift. I was thinking yesterday during my practice how peaceful these practices can make you or help you become. And in some sense, that's what we're practicing. Like even though it is a martial art, because it makes your body very capable of response options in the face of whatever, right? So it has that element, but really it's just peace. It's this cultivation of soft, pliable, resilient, not assertive in a sense. That doesn't mean you're not present and
have boundaries and such things, but we're not like aggressively asserting something onto our body. We're doing the opposite. We're getting out of the way. We're following, listening. And so that yield, that result, that thinking about how we say, that gave me peace of mind. Peace of mind is a concept, but I think Tai Chi is peace of body, right? It adds that element of we want to have cellular, joint, tissue, nervous system peace. So just feel that quality, that feeling of, I feel mindful, I feel relaxed, I feel just like being at peace. And how that's a medicine of sorts. And then we close, wing, roll, fold. Settle, settle, settle. Allow for a moment of cooling. Elbows loose, shoulders loose, neck and head loose and buoyant. Right? As the body becomes softer, we become less congested and compressed. Right? Here's the aging body. And you came now, and my back hurts all the time, to loose. But you see this uprightness, and you might think, oh no, I got to work to do that. But when you let go of that work, there's this other quality that gives you this flotation, gives you this uprightness, and doesn't interfere with function. And then seal, 1, 2. And if possible, close the eye. And we have the term Tai Chi, or more specifically, Tai Ji, J-I, which means the yining and yang, forward and back, out and in, the changing, pulsing rotation of the seasons, right? That's Tai Chi, and we just did that ourselves. Wu Ji means no activity or without activity. So when we stand here, this is Wu Ji practice. Basically conscious napping. As you close your eyes and stand, just a final 30, 40 seconds, notice what isn't relaxed and still. The mind, chatter, chatter, chatter. The emotions, stir, stir, stir. But as you go, well, let me just see if I can quiet that, relax that, let it, as they say, sink. Let it sink and return to its nest, which is here where our hands are. And when you start to find this, I haven't found a better drug. I've tried a few. I'm sure some of you have out there as well, right? Fun drugs and also, the drugs that you need. But I don't know a better drug than actually returning to this nest, that peace, that contentment, that regenerating, recharging quality. And then keep the mind there. This little hand mudra just reminding us as we go back to the yin and yang of life, right? This sort of yin yang symbol, we're retaining, we're contemplating the idea of the stillness within them. Thank you, everybody. Questions of any kind, feel free. And if you got to go, you got to